These lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order and your children will learn to love instead of hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. As I am a prophet and the servant is worthy of his hire, you can receive this pamphlet at expense. The reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when the time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of Muslims of America. All authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet of 1927 by the Prophet Noble Jew Ali. So Islam. So we give you that. So today's lesson, we're going to talk about the 5 principles. And we always feel that to be a simple lesson, and it should be simple. But there's a little bit more to it with the 5 principles. So we walk around and we say Islam, and we walk around, but do we understand the principles that the Prophet gave to us? So the 5 principles, everybody clear? Can somebody give me the 5 principles? Islam.
Love, truth, peace. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So we have those 5 principles. So those are the 5 guiding principles that are to guide us, the leadership, the members, and anyone that calls themselves true Moors. Those are our guiding principles. Those are our guiding lights, if you will. Right? So what is love? So we have the first principle comes about and says love. What is love? Anybody help me with that? Anybody in the class know what love is? Islam.
Affection.
It is what?
Affection.
Affection. Affection. Okay. Hey, he studies. Affection. So love is affection. It says, so we're supposed to love one another, right? And the Prophet gave us that instruction. It says, Act 3, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Morris Temple of America. No member is to put in danger, right? Or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Okay? So we know these 5 principles, but to clarify it and make sure that there was no misunderstanding, it's given to us in the law. Okay? He says, because Allah is love. So if we do things that are against someone else or against our principles or against what we should be doing, we're actually not just doing them against that person, we're doing them against the law, which is against principle number 1, which is against love, right? Because Allah is love. Right? So we don't want to get too far past that. We don't want to not know that. All right? Pretty simple, right? Don't want to move too fast. So a lot of us have the Holy Quran of the Muslim Temple of America. You want to read for me on the back of this?
Back of this.
On the very back.
The Holy Quran of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man need to worship under his own vine and fig tree, the uniting of Asia.
So it says, know yourself and your Father God Allah. So now we're dealing with ought and not. So ought is what? What do we say ought is? We've done the lesson a million times on ought and not. So ought is
Somebody, anybody?
Anybody know what ought is?
Ought.
Ought. A-U-G-H-T.
And ought, like basically the things that you're supposed to be doing, like how you're supposed to carry yourself.
Yeah, the things that you should be doing, the things that those are the things that won't pass away. Okay. Not are the things that someday will pass away.
So truth and falsehood.
Truth and falsehood. So ought not. So it says, know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. So in loving yourself and loving your fellow man and loving Moors and loving each other, isn't that uniting? It's the uniting yourself, right? Okay. So those are the things that we're built upon, that first principle of love. So we clearly must have love in our hearts. In our Eastern teachings, we understand the heart is here in the mind.
That might sound easy, but it's not always as easy as it sounds, because there's some people where we find it difficult. Our brain, our mind, not our true self, but the way that we're thinking, which is actually more, it's an infarct to my ego, might get in the way. And I feel like, well, I love that person with what they just did or how they made me feel, or, you know, those types of things. But that's false, because there's that one spark of Allah in everybody and everything. So true love requires us to just simply love everybody and everything in order to love ourselves.
Right.
Does that make sense?
So it says all living things are bound by cords. So if I don't love this, or I don't love that, or I don't see, these things were all created by Allah. So I have to see Allah in man, and I have to see and understand in these creations of those things. All right. You should still, at your age, you should still be in amazement when you walk and you look at things and say, somebody out of their mind created this. They created this. Sometimes you're dumbfounded. You say, wow, I just don't, I'm at a loss for words that Allah created this being, and this being created this. Wow.
Think about when, say, for example, the construction that's going on. First thing we think is, oh my goodness, there's more construction going on. But look at how vast it is, how big it is, how far we can travel because of the construction. And that puts it in a whole different picture. How many mountains did somebody go through? How high up did somebody climb to make a bridge? How did they know to even conceive the thoughts that these things would be possible?
Yeah. If any of you've ever traveled, I traveled through Pennsylvania one time, and there's a expansion bridge that goes through the mountains where they cut through it, and you can see, and it's attached. And I look and I say, I'm impressed, because as you're traveling along the interstate, it goes up. It's a slow incline, and you look up at the top, and we're going to be way up there at some point in this car. So that has to fascinate you at some point. So that's love. So what is truth?
Like if you fib or something, just
Is the opposite.
well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Islam.
a man of his word.
The man of his word is the truth. The man of his word is the truth. He said, so man was made up of two things. He said he has two things. He's truth and falsehood, strangely mixed. So the truth also from the lesson we know is the holy bread. Okay, so we have that. So let's go into look at page 55 in our Holy Quran, MST of that. See if we can get some understanding of truth. And this chapter actually is holy instructions from the prophet, the insufficiency of knowledge. So we're going to talk about truth. 20, it said, the fault is not in truth, for that is amiable, but the weakness of man beareth not its splendor. Wouldst thou see thine insufficiency more plainly? View at thy devotions. To what end was religion instituted but to teach thee thine infirmities, to remind thee of thy weakness, to show thee that from heaven alone art thou to hope for good? Doth it not remind thee that thou art dust, Doth it not tell thee that thou art ashes? And behold, repentance is it not frailty? So there was a whole lot in there that they explaining about truth. It said, fault is not in the truth. So we always say, oh, the truth is about to hurt him. I'm about to have to tell him the truth, and he gonna have to accept it. Are you telling him about the holy breath, or are you telling him what you think to be the truth? Those are two different animals. I'm telling him what he needs to know right now, and he's gonna feel some kind of way. Watch. And we puff our chest up, and we go over there, and we tear somebody down. The truth should be that Allah is in man. And you need to seek salvation so you can get back to the highest point of where you fell from. That's the truth. But sometimes we hear in man, he has a little bit of a different truth, and we put a spin on things. We just read in the beginning, it said, don't falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness, and for those that love Jesus. All right? What does Jesus mean? It's in the 101. It says Jesus means justice. This is for those that love Jesus. So we can't get these lessons and use these lessons and say, well, I flip this lesson around like this and it'll fit into where I need it to be, and now I can go and attack this. That's not what this is for.
Why would you attack if you love?
Because then you haven't even gotten to the first principle. You attack if you love, right? It says, doth it not remind thee that thou art dust? Now, see, that's supposed to bring you back into how you were created. So if that grasp our mind that we originally dust and we came from the dirt and ashes to ashes, and we're going to one day return to that, should we be tearing at anybody about anything for any reason? We are dust. And why did he use the word dust instead of like dirt or something? If you look at dust and you think about the word and how that was strategically placed, when you see a storm coming in that, what happens? The dust kicks up and it just blows away. Just gone. So it is with us. Sometimes in our behaviors and our character, we're like dust in the wind. It blows us wherever it wants to go. And we say, you know what, I'm about to tell him over here something about himself. And then we come back and we don't worry about our own issues. Okay? He said, but we have to understand that we are dust. And behold, repentance, is it not frailty? So when we repent, we have to have some understanding that there's something above us, which is Allah, when we repent. Why? That's why we get on our knees when we pray. To give us the understanding that we are the lowest form. All right? We're supposed to get on our knees. We're supposed to pray.
That confuses some people because they have this idea, upright. Upright doesn't necessarily mean that you're always standing upright, but you are standing upright. So even that has its own double entendre play on words that we have to make a part of our core beings. And then that dust, those thoughts in like Eastern traditions, as you mentioned, Eastern traditions. So those thoughts that enter your head and you're like, man, I know I shouldn't be thinking this. I'm going to try to suppress the thought. A better thing is the thought entered there, let it float away like the dust. Give it back to the atmosphere. Get rid of those things that don't serve a higher purpose. And over again, practicing that makes it a lot easier.
So that's true. So now we're on to the principle known as peace. What is peace? We say peace all the time. Peace. Peace. What's peace?
Space.
Space? Peace is space?
I like that.
But what kind of space would peace be? What's a peaceful space?
Peaceful space. Not really anything. There's movement, but not really anything happening.
Really nothing negative going on. Really no. Peace is just at peace. You know, you usually can't use the same word in its own definition, but, you know, given a definition of peace is,
Calm, steady, not erratic.
At ease.
Can I say what
What's up?
love would create peace, right? I would assume. If you have love for the next man, it create peace.
Islam.
mhm. Yeah, so love, principle one, truth. So you have love, you give them the truth, but it said man didn't really like the truth, right? So man would see the truth, and it said some didn't like the truth. The truth was very stern. But when man gets love, sees the truth, and accepts the truth, now we can move on. So if we can come to the realization that maybe at sometimes we're not doing our best, that's a hard thing to say. Say, you know what? I really didn't do my best. I really didn't try my hardest. Maybe I could have done it this way. Maybe I should have done it that way.
You know what? Maybe you were correct and I wasn't.
Right. Yeah, that's a hard statement. That's a hard statement. So when you say I could have done it this way, I could have done it makes me crack up because there's a song Brian McKnight wrote talking about how he lost his girl. I should have done this, I could have done that, but now I can't go back. See, so sometimes when we drive a wedge so far, it's hard to go back. It's easy to do it right the first time. All right. So if we have options as to do it right the first time, we won't have a bad option.
So if we choose a bad option at any time, that option is always an option because we already put it into our environment.
Right. So we put bad into play. We put bad into our mind. Not only did that put that bad thought into play for us, someone else picked up on it that may be weaker and jumped on and said, you know, how often have we heard that? He did it. So that's the justification for the bad that's about to occur. I did it because he did it. I wasn't going to do it, but then he did it, which made me do it, and she saw me do it, so now we did it.
Yeah, but see, I did it because they did something to me first. Oh.
Right.
That doesn't work either. Not if we're living in that first principle. How many of us struggle with or have struggled with, yes, I did this because, and I knew I was wrong when I was doing it, but I did it because this happened to me. I believe that there's probably not one single person in this room, in this building, probably outside too, that hasn't felt that or done that at some point in their lives.
Might be an animal.
I don't know. An animal just does what it does. But remember, we have something that animals don't. We have thought and free will, and we can make our own decisions.
So us having thought and free will, sometimes isn't that the thing that causes us our grief. I can think how many times have we been on a job or we're in the store or something. I can think and say whatever I feel like it when I want to. When there are people, and they're gonna like it. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't go the way you planned because they may not be living according to the 5 principles. And then what's gonna happen when you say what you think? You should be able to say to whoever, whatever, and they should accept it.
You're not going to be living according to them either.
Right. Right. So isn't that something? So love, truth. So we're at peace. Now we're at peace. So
Are y'all at peace? I'm at peace.
I'm at peace.
I feel great.
At ease
It's
and
amazing.
peace. That's what I'm going to say.
Isn't-
At ease and peace.
you know, isn't it amazing just to be yourself? Right? And you're okay with that. You're not seeking for the next thing. You're not looking for this next move. You just are, right? How can you go wrong when Allah has your back? I don't know. What's wrong?
If you're in your lower self.
But if Allah has your back,
You shouldn't be in your lower
you ain't
self.
gonna be in your lower self, are you?
No.
Okay.
Because you should be thinking about the truth.
Yeah.
So love, truth, peace. We have freedom. What's freedom?
Woo!
What
When
is
you
it?
mix love, truth, and peace together, you feel so free. You feel light. That's true freedom.
Mm.
Those things that weigh you down, those chains, those things you think about every day, you really don't think about them. And you can actually say that you are thankful for everything and everybody. You know, when the bills come around, I get a little bit upset sometimes. But in all actuality, I'm thankful for being able to flip a light switch and have lights at night. So when you start thinking about things like that, I'm thankful for having enough money to be able to pay the bill so I can flip the light switch so that I can have lights at night. Those things, that's true freedom.
Mm. It is. That is. So love, truth, peace, freedom. So man was given free reign and free thought as well. All right. So as you spend more time with these principles, it becomes more in your blood, more in your DNA, returning back to the way from which you came. All right. We fell because we honored not the principles of our mothers and our fathers, which were love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We changed those principles to greed, selfishness, anger,
Lust, envy,
hatred, lewdness, rudeness, crudeness, right?
all those things that the Lord self likes.
Mm-hmm. So those are the things that we took on. So we had 5 principles and we took on 155 principles. So now one by one, we're trying to disprove those things that we thought were principles. Those aren't principles. They're falsehood. But when you've been in them so long, they create illusion. They're an illusion. You see on the cartoons, and he said, "Oh, there's water in the desert." And they run over there, and it's not. All right. So we have an illusion that the American dream is a $500,000 house, a $200,000 Maybach, and a $50 million gold chain, and in a subdivision blocked off from everybody else that nobody can come to my house. Is that the dream?
Not the children.
Not for everybody
Islam.
either. Not the true dream, not for everybody either.
Right. So sometimes we pursue things that shouldn't be in the pursuit of. Right? So us being in this flesh has made us to pursue things that maybe we shouldn't be pursuing. It says, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all else will be added." Right? So we're seeking to get one with Allah. All the rest of that stuff will be added at some point. You probably already got the treasures of Allah, but you trampled it going to get the next treasure. I thought we just talked about that.
Didn't even realize it. Didn't even realize what you truly had until after you realized you had it. Like I remember when, so I went to school because I wanted to go to school. My goal wasn't let me go to school so I can better myself, so I can make more money, so I can buy this. I became a nurse and a nurse practitioner and got my doctorate simply because I wanted them. I wanted to, and I didn't want them. I wanted the knowledge that went along with them. And I wanted to be able to do what they allowed me to be able to do. What I learned is the more money you make, the more bills you have. So, and people don't think that way. The more taxes, the more everything. So it seems like you want to get there, but how many times have you seen stars? They went to jail or got in trouble with the law because they didn't pay their taxes. So then think about how much their taxes actually are. And look at it on a scale to scale because we're all the same. We all have the same goods, the same bads. We're all the same. Except that we're looking at like they have all that money. They should be able to handle this and they should be fine with it. But the division line for what they pay is the same as the division line for what we pay. And when you look at it like that, we're still all the same. And we should be trying to strive for the exact same goals. And the only way to get other people to think that way is for them to see it. So you have to see those principles in us. We have to work really hard, sometimes harder than others, to actually exhibit that. So it just floats outside of you. It's there. And it's in someone's face. And they're saying things like, well, why you like that? Because aren't you upset about this? And you're like, you know what? I'm good. It just is what it is. That's the most amazing feeling.
So we've gone love, truth, peace, freedom. Now we're at justice, right? Justice is a funny thing because people look at justice and they say, well, we're at justice, so now I get to lay down the hammer. The hammer. I always take them out. You know, it's always the sledgehammer, the hammer, the ball peen hammer. It's always something to do with hammering when you get to people.
It's always violent and hurtful.
People say justice. Justice always has to be that thing that, oh, this is going to be what it is. Islam?
I thought justice was just when the superhero saved the day.
When the superhero saved the day.
Islam.
From the mouth of babes.
Yep. So that's when the superhero saves the day. Islam. So let's go to the one-on-ones. At number 35, it says, where do we get the name Jesus?
From the east.
From the east. What does the name Jesus mean?
Jesus means justice.
Jesus means justice. Did the angel give to the child that was called Jesus a holy name?
Yes, but it cannot be used by those who are slaves to sin.
It says, what is an angel?
An angel is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh.
And what are the angels used for?
To carry messages to the four corners of the world, to all nations.
Islam.
Islam, I want to point out something. You know, every time I look at these, I see something else. A lot of times we say, you know, an angel or we are manifested in flesh. But it actually says an angel is a thought of Allah manifested in human flesh. That's so significant. Because to say it any other way, that's anything manifested in flesh. And that would be everything on this earth. That's not what the prophet was saying. So how important are you? How important am I? How important are we? If we're all the same and we are this. Ooh, to whom much is given,
much is required.
Much is required.
Islam. Islam, question?
We're a thought of Allah and manifested in flesh. What does he think? What do you think he thinks? Like, well, if this person's really smart, what do you think? What do you think he thinks?
Islam. Well, it says in our lesson, you know, and the brother asked a question. He said, what does Allah think? And he says, in our lesson, it talks about he gave to everyone their portion thereof. So there wasn't anything that was by accident. There wasn't anything by coincidence. It was the way it was designed to be. So that's why we have to be where we're supposed to be when we're supposed to be there and accept what we have. Because when we don't accept what we were given, what does that mean?
Looking for more.
You're always looking for more. So if you don't accept what you were given, that means that you don't believe in what you got.
That's powerful.
You don't believe in what you've got. So that's the reason why when you go out into the community, you see people are on different levels, on different things. Those are things for you to have some compassion. That can be us at any moment. Probably has been some of us at any moment along the roads, along the toils, and along those things. But we got to thank God we were tested and we made it to the next level, right? So we go through life and we say, oh, look at him. He's down and out. He just don't do nothing. That's not love. That's not love. Maybe he made a poor decision. We've all made a poor decision here or there, but how much did it cost you? Always remember, you can lie. Don't lie to yourself. There's a cost at that. So when we deal with things with people on different levels, we've all made poor decisions. How much did it cost you? Can you recover from it? That's the most beautiful thing is Allah is merciful. So mighty and merciful. Where are you going to get that combination anywhere else? You're not going to find it. You can run out here and ask anybody you want. Hey, I'm the mightiest in the neighborhood. Okay, are you merciful? Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's offensive. No, I'm not going to show no mercy to him. He wouldn't show mercy to me, is usually what you'll hear, right? But the law has been merciful to us.
Think about in a football game or something. And that team, they're pummeling them. They're just so down, down, down. And then the next thing, take a knee. Take a knee. Take a knee. Show mercy. All of these things are right there, laying right there underneath the surface. But until you realize what they are, you simply don't realize what they are. And to add to what you were saying to the young brother right there, you mentioned, what if someone is smart? What if all of us are the same and we're all smart? We're given our portion for different things. We have different gifts. So where one might be smart when it comes to putting things together, another one might be smart when it comes to cooking. Another one might be smart when it comes to tying shoes efficiently. We have to learn to think differently.
Love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. Now, I've repeated it a few times. This hasn't been by accident. I've given you those each and every time. So, why did our prophet give us love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice? Anybody got any thought on that? Any reason, anything they can grasp on? Why did these just come up? Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Clearly, we know it wasn't. He was a prophet, so he was trained and ordained and sent to us by Allah. But why is those 5 principles? They gotta just throw something out there.
I know. Come on, play with us.
Islam.
Because that's before he found out all of this information. That's like our forefathers. That's how they lived life, and that's what lift us up from the fallen state that we're in. If we live by those 5 principles.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we were given those 5 principles to lift us up. Given a direction. We were given the divine constitution and bylaws, 7 actions, if you will, to move you in a direction to get to those 5 principles, right? Read me them. Yeah, I'm just gonna get to them. Okay. I didn't just skip over it.
I have to watch you.
Islam. So that was to get us to the principles that we have again on the back of the book, right? What does it say on the back of the book? Somebody help me with that.
Know yourself and your Father God Allah, that you may learn to love instead of hate. Every man need to worship under his own vine and fig tree. United
Islam. You got a question in the back there? Or statement? Islam?
He's like, no, I'm good now.
Yeah, just following what you were saying. That's how about that. The final laws that rules that you had.
Mm-hmm. Those 5 principles.
5 principles, yes.
And I'm gonna read you something else. This is from this is an excerpt from the Moorish literature, number 14. It's caveat emptor. It says, Moors are men, upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones and follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So why were we given those 5 principles? Did you catch that? Read it one more time. Moors are men upright, independent, and fearless, who care for their loved ones, who follow the prophet to a destiny which is not uncertain nor unknown. They are fortified by the impregnable doctrine built upon love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. So the reason we were given love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice is because that doctrine is impregnable. All right. What does that mean? Impregnable.
I mean, it can't be changed.
It can't be changed. It can't be penetrated. It's impregnable. Love is a law. All right? Truth is hard. Freedom, justice, those things can't be penetrated. If someone tries to penetrate those 5 principles, what do we say of them?
Must need justice.
Huh?
Then they must need justice.
They must need justice.
So what I hear you saying and what I hear you saying and what I hear you saying is basically the way that we behave in our thoughts, actions, and deeds for those principles, those first 4, is what then the justice that we receive. So if we're actually following them, then the justice isn't the hammer. The justice then goes back and it is love. We get those same things that we give right back. So if the way that we behave and our thoughts, actions, and deeds are not positive, then that's what we get back as well.
Mm-hmm. So this little lesson too is caveat emptor. Anybody know we've gone through it before? What does caveat emptor mean? Anybody know what that means? That means buyer beware. Right? Let's go back to the front of the Quran again about that. So buyer beware. But didn't our principles love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice? Why don't we have the principles love, truth, peace, purchase, and justice? Can we purchase freedom?
No.
We can't purchase love?
No.
What about justice?
No.
Truth?
No.
Oh, it's not for sale.
That's falsehood.
That's not for sale. All right. Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. This is again from the Quran. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones, that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. As I am the prophet, and the servant is worthy of his hire. Okay. A servant is worthy of his hire. All right? So the work you put in for, you're going to get payment for. It may not be in the way that you think in your worldly mind that you should get paid. I'm sorry to say. He said it in the book. These aren't for purchase. They're not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. So that's how it's a gift, right? This is your gift. Take this, put your house in order. Take this, get your child in order. Take this, get yourself in order. Take this, get your community in order. Take this, I don't want that. Huh? That's a problem. He said, take it. It's for the sake of humanity.
I can't worry about humanity. I need to worry about me.
No.
No.
You need 2 pamphlets. If that's what we're worried about, you need 2 pamphlets. One for you and one for a friend. Matter of fact, get a few. One for different areas of your house. So when you wander around, pick a different one up and have it on a different page.
Absolutely.
Right? Instead of 9 TVs, you should have 9 Qurans in your house.
Maybe I want to go in the living room.
Right? These lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. So we were given this, Robert, to go take this and save yourself. Right? He said, go take this prescription, go and save yourself. But how often have we still been waiting for somebody to come and save us? Who has a better interest in you than you? Well, you should have a better interest in you than anyone else. But isn't that sometimes where we let ourselves down? We're in this habit of waiting on somebody. There's a whole song about it. Keep on waiting for the world to change.
Waiting on the world to change.
How's it going to change if you got the tools, but you won't swing the hammer? You like to when it's at justice. Well, why don't you like to swing the hammer and build something? Use a scraper and scrape away something that's rotten and decayed.
My mother used to always say, if you can't change the people around you, change the people around you. So if you look at that for what it truly means on both sides, that's powerful. And we can actually do that. Because when people see it, they can't help but accept it. If they see anger, that's what becomes. And I know I've talked about this before. You ever walk in a room and you can just tell everybody is mad, and all of a sudden you get that heavy feeling too, and you mad. You ain't got nothing to be mad about, but you've absorbed what you're around.
Got a question?
I got a question.
Islam.
With the class that you did a few weeks ago at UT, like the crystals and stuff, don't that help? Like block out some of that energy?
Well, it's because you focus and your intention, because the gift is in you. But specific things throughout history have been used for certain purposes. They have their energy, and their energy is calm, where ours is erratic. Some people say, like, a person might vibrate high, but that's not actually what it is. You're not just vibrating high. We can vibrate high and be just as calm. I vibrate high all the time. But erratic vibration is the same as when somebody gets ready to have a heart attack. That's an erratic heartbeat. So what we want is to bring ourselves into alignment, and we can use different modalities to get there. People go get massages so they feel better. Crystals so that they feel better. But the whole thing is about your thought and your intention and moving something into your environment that you can use as a tool to help you realize you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so those are just little helping things to get you in tune, right? So love, truth, peace, freedom, justice. So like we said, this was caveat emptor, buyer beware. So if you bought something, prophet said, take this. So if you bought something, you might be in error.
Mm-hmm.
Go find whoever you got it from, try to get that refund. Probably not gonna happen. All right. But he gave us this in an investment in uplifting fallen humanity. It said, so here it is. Intrigue and scurrilously cunnings find a difficult path to travel within the ranks of the Moors. This is so because the Moorish movement has well been planned by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, whose latent powers are abundant, unknown, and may be called into action as a matter of defense at any moment. All right. So the prophet's latent powers can be called at defense. He didn't say at offense, right? People say the best defense is a good offense. Let's get it started.
So I should defend myself by offending people, because that's what you just said to me.
Well, yeah, see, I think you're twisting my words.
I don't think so.
well, can I offend somebody to say, whoops, it was an accident?
No, because you sound like you intended to offend them when you went over there and said, I'm about to drop the hammer.
Okay. See, so in the reasoning in your mind, it has to bring you back to where you're supposed to be at. So you can't in a moment of weakness say, I'm just going to make something up. And then isn't that what we happen to do at the very end is we just apologize. You know what? I'm going to let them have it. And then when I get done, I'm going to say I'm cool and they'll be cool with it. How many times can you say sorry? And how many times is that other person going to listen to that?
Because at some point we have to learn. Now, most of us have life that we've lived already. And some of those lives are a little bit, less years than others. But the thing is, at this moment, when you realize this information, at that moment, that's when you make conscious effort for your life to change. You gotta let go of what's back there in the past, because if you live there, you can never live here.
You telling me I can change my life a little bit?
Just a little bit. I pray real hard and you can change your life.
And it's gonna cost me?
It's not gonna cost you.
Not gonna cost me a thing. Islam, you got a question?
So then, if if he's handing out a Holy Quran, if Allah is handing out a Holy Quran, why doesn't everybody have one there?
Who?
Oh, that's a tough
That
question.
was fire. Whose child is that?
Brother said, if Allah is handing out Holy Qurans, why doesn't everyone have them?
They just throwing them away.
It's like throwing jewels and treasures away, right? So many have eyes but cannot see, ears but cannot hear. They didn't want the truth, it was too stern. Now, as times are changing, we do need to get that. You just, I'm going to put you in charge of that, the children's ministry. We're going to take up a collection. We're going to start making some moves. We're going to buy some and give some away.
You're trying to sell kids.
We're going to give them away. We're going to give them. There's other people that do that. That's illegal. We're not selling children. The MSTA does not advocate selling children. We will. We need to get that together. We'll get with the business managers and things. We need to get some finance, and we need to give these away. How are you going to uplift fallen humanity if they don't have the roadmap to know where to go? All right. They got a GPS that's unplugged and not programmed. They're going nowhere. All right. And got flat tires. So they way behind the game. He said, this is of no expense. This has no expense. And we give this to them for the sake of humanity.
So wait, the truth is free.
The truth is free.
Love is free.
Love is free.
Peace is free.
Peace is free. Justice too.
Then why do we fight so hard?
So actually, we're in error. We in this room are in error. We're supposed to be uplifting fallen humanity. How are we if we haven't given them the tool? All right? That falls on me. That falls on the leadership. That falls on my grand governor, assistant grand governor. All right? I'm calling myself out on this. We got to put these books out there then. If they don't have the roadmap to know how to get free, freedom is over here and they over there. I haven't provided them the roadmap. All right. If I know this is the roadmap and I hide it from them, we know that in history, right?
Think about how as you awaken and as people around us awaken and anybody who pays attention to any sort of media, something is out there. And to a lot of people, it's like a brand new thing and people are angry. What? That happened? This happened? Well, when we don't hand out the information, we're in essence doing the exact same thing.
So give freely of yourselves, right? I read in a book, it said, don't hide the light up under a bushel. Why? It'll burn it up. They can't hide the light under a bushel. That's in essence what we're doing by not putting this information out there. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. The impregnable principles, right? The roadmap, how to get there. Right? It's the prophet said, it's not uncertain or unknown where they're going. Why? They're going to go to salvation. Right? They're going to get there. I promise you. I promise you. But those that have been a little bit more divinely prepared, myself included, I got an obligation to give them the tool to get the job done. We got to get it. We got to get it freely. Some of us that we working, we got finance coming in. We're going to put in an order. We're going to put them out there. They need these books. How's they going to get free? Tell them what freedom look like. Freedom over there. What? I must have went past. I went too far. Why? Because that GPS wasn't programmed. Here it is. Give them the GPS. Get them to where they need to go. Islam.
I mean, they program their GPS.
Reprogram their GPS. All right. You find the first one, go give it to them. They plug in. Get them on the right path.
It's the matrix, baby.
The destination is not uncertain nor unknown. We know where these modes are going to be going. We know where these people need to be going. And how they're going to guide themselves. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. That was the topic of this class. Anybody got any questions about any of that? Anybody got any statements about any of that? Anybody unclear of what their job is?
I don't know if you got an answer to any of that. What are we supposed to be doing? What you supposed to be doing?
Listening and uplifting and following humanity.
And I heard that in echo. I heard from out of the ether. Somebody over in that corner said uplift and following humanity. You said uplift and following humanity.
Uplift and following humanity. Let me take us home one more time. Let's reiterate this. We got love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Must be proclaimed and practiced by all members, right? No member is accused falsely, his brother or sister, on any occasion that may harm his brother or sister. Why? Because Allah is love.
And it's free.
Dear readers, do not falsely use these lessons. They are for good, peace, and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons you can get your house in order and your children will learn to love instead of hate. The lessons of this pamphlet are not for sale, but for the sake of humanity. Islam?
Islam.
Islam. Islam.
I have a thought. Of course I do. So as you read those, what resonated with me is everything in each one of those is positive. Positive, positive, positive. So then you might wonder, well, why is the word hate in there? Because the prophet already knew that by doing those things that we were doing, we'd already learned that. And now it's time to get rid of that and have all those positive things. He wrote this so long ago, and we're still there. The words still apply. Look at the world around us, and it's a fact. If you look at the world around you, you can see that's the one thing that most people know how to do and are willing to do freely.
Hey. Islam.
Islam.
On that note, she brought you home. If you lost, you don't know the way, and you can't find your way,
Get your GPS.
you get your GPS. I'm gonna get it. Bam. There's your GPS. So that's a challenge. We're gonna get some people, find out how we're gonna put this finance together. We're gonna get these books. We're gonna put these books out. I'll put my money where my mouth is. I got 20 right now on it.
I got
Okay.
20 on it.
So that's the first 40 to start buying these books. These books are gonna hit this community. All right.
Why did both of y'all say I got 5 on it though?
So Islam. So as instructed to us by our holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, we must close promptly in according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islam, Lord.
Islam.
Allah, Father of the universe,
Father of the universe,
Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace, freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation.
and my salvation.
By night
By night
and by day.
and by day.
Through his holy prophet,
Through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen.
One more prayer. Allah bind our hearts and minds back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. This we ask in our holy name in the 7 Elohim. Amen.
Amen.
Islam.
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 Has anybody got any dues they want to put up?